Hey, Joaquin. Well, it is a shorter scale. I'm not sure. That's such a good question, and I should have been prepared that somebody might ask me that. I'm going to look it up because then I can answer these kind of questions. The scale, yeah, it's 22 and a half inch scale. 22 and a half inch scale. If anybody's curious about this guitar, they can check it out. This tells about it. Yeah, very comfy. Yeah. Yeah, man. I'm just warming up. This guitar needs a Bigsby. Yeah, perhaps. I'm just warming up. I did this last time for some nonsensical reason. I'm going live on YouTube, having not really touched the guitar today. So I'm not warmed up. And last time I showed you an exercise where I played major scales in different positions and tried to improvise with them. I wanted to show another exercise that I like to do, which is just to take a really familiar song, familiar to you, that is, because you're going to warm up. I've chosen Home on the Range. That may or may not be in your wheelhouse, but pick something that is and play it. I'm just going to adjust my mic a little bit here. Play it in some different keys, some different positions, stuff like that. I feel like for me, it's a nice way to get to intentional stuff, because I'm improvising in the sense that I don't have a worked out arrangement of this song. So I am making up the arrangement in the moment, but I'm not on the razor's edge of improvisation, and not by a long shot, in the sense that I'm playing a composed song. So my job is to keep that song going and try to reframe it in some different ways. So one thing I might do is, play it down low. So that's something to play it down low. I might try to play it up high. Um, uh, So, using different parts of the register of the guitar, I might do it in different keys. I might play it in a minor key just to see what that's like. Uh, I think that is a neat way to warm up. I find it useful for me to take one song and frame it a bunch of different ways on the guitar, in major, in minor. Maybe I'll play it as a waltz. Maybe I'll play it, see if I can do it just on two strings. That could be like this. So I'm going to do the middle two strings, and I'll do it in the key of B. So. So, just any way I can find to bind myself up a little bit while still giving myself a pretty simple missive, just play the song. I find that to be a good warm up. Okay, let's see what people are saying. Alex TW says, hey, hello. Hey, hello, Alex. It works wonders to acquire new vocabulary as well. The issue I tend to have is that sometimes I have to think a lot to keep the voice leading in a nice way. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the idea. Like this, we're warming up. It's a good time to do that. I don't mind doing some hard work, especially moving so slowly. It's a lot of thinking, but it's not that taxing mentally at a slow pace or even just in free time. I'm going to check my tuning one more time. So let's see how it is. Yeah. All right. It's not too bad. Yeah. What's anyone got questions? I'm just really, as I said, getting warmed up. But I'm open to talking about anything that you guys want to get into. What guitar am I playing? I'm playing a guitar made by a luthier named Janus Yellow. And he calls this his cupcake. It is a short scale guitar with 2 mini humbuckers and a mastery bridge. Oh, thanks. Man, I've been really listening a lot lately to this recording of Wes Montgomery with the Wynton Kelly Trio. Not the Smoking at the Half Note record, but something that came out more recently, which is like the complete half note sessions. I forget exactly what it's called. But the first song on there is a song called Laura, which is a tune from the mid 1940s. And there's a thing that he plays it's just this fill. It lasts about a measure. And I still can't work out how Wes would have played it, because you always think of him, with his thumb. But he does this portal thing. Like this I get. Like that makes sense to me. It's hard to do the splayed Wes thing on this guitar because your hand would really want to be a little farther down. But when he gets I'll show you the part I'm talking about. Here, in the sheet music, it would be like a measure of F major 7 and a measure of F6. That's pretty common in this part of the tune. And Wes plays this fill over that. What is it? It's kind of got like a Barry Harris vibe with all that. It's all just F, and he starts out with an A minor 7, and he plays these string pairs like this, and then a B flat 9 13, and then another voicing of that same chord, and then E diminished, and then I think this like F major 9 voicing, which is F, G, C, E. Sometimes when I play along, I think it's just a straight F major 7, and sometimes I hear the G, so I'm not sure. But check this out on F. It's so beautiful, musically beautiful, and also, when do you ever hear like Wes plucking pairs of strings? It's really a mystery to me. I don't know if anybody of you is a real Wes aficionado, but this passage is kind of blowing my mind. Any tips to remember songs you're learning? Yeah. Well, let me ask you this, Rodney, if you're still here. Are you learning songs like for an original music gig where you're playing with a singer-songwriter and you have to learn their songs? Or are you talking about learning like jazz standards, that kind of thing? Because I would answer that slightly differently depending on what you're into. So Rodney, please let me know. In the meantime, I'm going to look at some other questions. Yeah, long time no see. I know I haven't been that steady here, but I'm trying to be here more, just for you. Alan says, "Hey Adam, thanks for the recent post on the D'Addario guitar humidifiers. I bought one for my acoustic, but it has me wondering, is it a good idea for the solid body case too?" Yeah, I put them in all my guitar cases. These are what they look like when you buy them. The insert is not made by D'Addario. The insert is made by some. Well, I take it back. It does say D'Addario on it, but it's made by Boveda. I don't know if you can see that. In the interest, just to be transparent, I'm friendly with D'Addario. I get a deal on strings from them, but these I bought online, so I'm not shilling for these humidifier packs. I actually paid full retail for these, and I use them. So to answer your question, do I put them in my solid body cases? Yes, I do, and here's why. Last year I was on tour, and I have this old Telecaster, and it was starting to get a little buzzy in a couple of places. And what was happening is the neck had gotten so dried out that the fret was actually kind of pulling away from the fretboard. So, we think of humidifying the guitar with regard to the body, like on an acoustic guitar. That's the priority usually. But any part of the guitar can dry out. If you have this guitar doesn't have it, but if you're playing a Telecaster and you've got those ferrules, I've never said that word out loud, but it's Ferule, and plural of that, ferrules. Those I've seen on a Telecaster, when it gets dry, they want to come loose. So lots of stuff can go wacky when your guitar dries out. So yes, if you live someplace where it gets dry in the winter, as I do. I live in New York. My reading in my room right now is 31%. I need to actually fire up the humidifier, but I have to drag it out of the closet. I haven't used it yet this year. But yes, I recommend humidifier packs in all your guitar cases. I don't think you're ever going to do any harm by that, because it's not just throwing humidity at the guitar. It's actually trying to stabilize it. So that's what they do. Okay. That was for Alan. Captain Shredder says, any tips on developing a repertoire, especially solo guitar stuff for a restaurant gig or something similar? Yes, Captain Shredder, I will talk about that. I'm going to answer, I want to answer Rodney's question about learning standards first. So yeah, if you're trying to learn standards, the way that I do it, and I understand different teachers are going to tell you different things, but I try to come at it from sound more than from the page. You might have a real book or some book that has the melody and the chords. That's great for reference. But really what I would do is I'd go to wherever you listen to music, some streaming service or YouTube or whatever, and find 5 or even 10 versions of the song that you're trying to learn, and make a playlist that you can just keep listening to. And if you can't find 5 or 10 versions of the song, just find what you can. You can always add more to it later. Don't get hung up on, oh man, I got to put my guitar down and go to Spotify and find 10 covers. Like, that's not the point. But the point is to get the sound of that song in your ear, and probably if you get 5 or 6 or 8 versions or whatever, they're probably going to be in different keys than each other, because maybe if there's a singer, they want to do it in their key, and another singer might want to do it in a different key. A piano player might want to do it in their own key that they like, or whatever. So you're really getting a bigger picture, not only of the sound, but of just the possibility, and also hearing different ways to interpret the melody, different ways to expand the harmony. And once you've done that for a few days, a week, like, just put that playlist on, not even when you're practicing, but just whatever, when you're making coffee in the morning or when you're driving in your car, just listen to the song. Then I would go back to the sheet music and just try to learn it one section at a time. Most jazz standards are multiples of 8 measures long. They're most of them are 32 bars long. So just give yourself an assignment to learn the first 8 bars and get to where you can play it without looking at the page. Play the melody by itself. Doesn't have to be chord melody or anything fancy. Just play the melody. Hmm. Whatever it is. That's just 8 bars there. That was Stella by Starlight. Um, Play little bits and pieces of it. Learn the shell voicings. If you're playing Stella, um, just learn some simple chords to get through it. Don't try to learn big fancy chords. Just shell voicings is enough. That and the melody. And then once you can do that with the first 8 bars, do the next 8 bars, and then do the next 8 bars. A lot of standards are fairly repetitive. It might go A, B, A, and so there's a lot of material that gets repeated, so that makes it easier, I think. Stella by Starlight is more of a kind of it's linear. It doesn't double back on itself in the same way that a lot of standards do. So that's what I would do. Listen to it, sing it. If you can get yourself to sing, that's always good. Take it one section at a time. Don't try to memorize the whole tune all at once. And then once you can play it, once you can play it without looking at the music, really get away from the sheet music as quickly as you can. The more tied you are to the music, the less present you are the more tied you are to the page, the less present, for most people, the less present you are to the moment and to the music. So, yeah, that's what I would do. And if you were watching this from the beginning, you heard me play Home on the Range in a bunch of different places. That would be another thing I would do, is I would take a melody and play it all over the guitar, not just in one place, but down here. Or, so that you really aren't just limiting yourself to one location, but you're just thinking more about music. Okay, Rodney, I hope that's helpful. That was a long story. Oh boy. So Rodney, if you're listening to Ted Green and Tim Lurch, that's great. I mean, those versions are going to be exquisite. But also, I would try to find a version that is older. Try. This is something it took me a while to figure out. It might be obvious to you already, so pardon me if I'm, I know I say things that are obvious sometimes, but I say them because they weren't obvious to me. I'm kind of a slow learner, really. So, um, when you think about a song that people still love to play, like "Embraceable You," uh, they love to play it because it's a strong melody, it's a strong lyric, it's a strong song. And also, there's people play it still today because there's some nostalgia around it. Uh, but remember that a lot of these songs didn't start as nostalgia. They were pop songs. They were popular songs of the day. I mentioned earlier, I've been thinking about this tune, Laura, which is from a film from the mid 40s. And the actress was Jean Tierney, who was a hot thing. I mean, she was a popular actress, and a lot of people would go see a movie if she was in it. So for us in 2024 to play this song, maybe we play it because has an echo of an era to it. But remember that any song, Embraceable You, or any of these songs from the 30s and 40s, started out, if people recorded them, like if you notice, oh, Errol Garner recorded this, or Oscar Peterson recorded it, or Wes Montgomery recorded it. They recorded it because it was a popular song that everybody knew and loved. They would play it in nightclubs, and people would enjoy hearing it because it was a song that they knew and they were familiar with. So I always try, when I make a playlist of recordings of um, a song for this purpose, for memorizing a standard, I try to get at least a really old early version, if I can find one. Maybe even the original version. If it's from a movie, I'll try to find the soundtrack, or if it's from a Broadway show, I'll try to find the Broadway cast recording. And it also gives you just a sense of like what that song sounded like then, before people started trying to reharmonize it and put a bunch of 2-5-1s in it, and make it you know a jazzy song. It was just a pop song. And as it happens, the popular songs of the 30s and 40s were very sophisticated. So we think of them as jazz tunes. Okay, there was a question. Yeah. Yeah, developing repertoire for a restaurant gig. Captain Shredder, are you still here? I hope so. I go on these tangents, and then I look down, I realize like 8 minutes has gone by. I would say, okay, cool. You know, keep a notebook where you write down songs that you want to play and songs that you can already play. And just, over weeks, months, however long you have that gig, try to get more things from the songs you'd like to play over to the songs you can play sheet. Sometimes I would do that by just playing really simple versions. I think it's a heavy lift if you're going to try to do, Ted Green style arrangements of 30 songs to play a restaurant gig. I would pick simple songs that you know and love. They could be pop songs, Beatles songs, country songs, uh, whatever. The more you love these songs, the better. And hopefully, they're also songs that uh, regular people out in the world love. I had a brunch gig for a little while a few years ago with my friend Mason Stoops, and we would play. And it's not even brunch. Brunch is the wrong. We played coffee o'clock. Our gig started at 8 a.m. and we would play for a couple hours. This was at a coffee shop in Pasadena. And obviously, this is easier when you've got a second person playing with you, because then somebody can play chords and somebody can play the melody. You can take it lightens the burden quite a bit. But also, we would have fun trying to stump each other and like play songs that we knew the other person probably knew, like, but didn't know how to play. Like, I remember one week I came in and I was playing. Yeah. I mean, this is terrible. I'm butchering it, which is probably good because maybe now YouTube won't ding me for the copyright. But I was trying to play "Walk of Life" by Dire Straits. Now, Mason and I had never discussed that song, but I know that he's a huge Mark Knopfler fan. So I knew if I played anything from a Mark Knopfler solo record or a Dire Straits record, he would just know it, even if he had never played it on the guitar. But I would try to just do, little fun things like that, and just not overthink it. And hopefully, if you already have this gig, this restaurant gig, it's a weekly thing. That's the best case scenario. Trying to get a repertoire together for a one-off gig in a restaurant uh, sounds like so much work. So, I mean, it is so much work. I would really try to get a weekly gig somewhere if you can, and then just work it up. You can always repeat songs. Most people aren't going to be there all the way through your whole set from, start to finish. And also just get comfortable with improvising little transitions. Just try to read the room. People aren't there to hear you probably. So you're more providing an atmosphere. So think about what you can do to make the atmosphere nice for them. Play a melody. Something like that. Simple little song. Everybody will be happy. Play Sleepwalk. Play whatever. Yeah, that's my advice. Which is very vague and general advice, but what I'm trying to get across is don't overthink it. That's my real advice. Don't overthink it. Jamie Henderson. Also, could you explain bluegrass harmony, please? When I hear Tony Rice play bluesy stuff, it's not a blues. Lots of major scale and chord tones, but not just that. Man, I wish I could explain that, but that's really out of my wheelhouse. I don't know much about bluegrass and haven't listened to Tony Rice all that much. So I will leave that one alone. Sorry, I can't give you a good answer there. Stephen Koivula, great question. Any thoughts on how to stay motivated practicing when you're not a gigging professional and it's just your hobby? Thanks. Yeah. Well, why? I mean, why do you play in the first place? Why bother? And I'm asking in earnest, like, why? What is appealing to you about music or guitar or anything like that? Like, what's the spark? Okay, love the music, love guitar, great. Who is somebody that you listen to that inspires you, Stephen? Who's somebody that really lights you up when you hear them play? Okay, great. It's challenging though because it's hard to play like Miles Okazaki. I don't know if you're trying to do that, but I mean he's obviously a super high level musician. But I could think about him. I mean, do you like his original music? Do you like his Monk record? Do you like his say more? I'm trying to get to the core of things. Just trying to be me, just trying to be me and progress. Yeah. Okay. Then I think what I would do is yeah, okay. Excuse me. A couple things occur to me. One would be to make a project for yourself. For people watching this who don't know who Miles Okazaki is, he's an incredible guitar player. I guess you'd say a jazz guitar player. I don't know how else to describe, but that's the world that he's in. He writes a lot of original music. He's got a couple of different groups that he has assembled for different recordings. He also recorded an album of all of Thelonious Monk's compositions, of which I think there's something like 50 or something like that. And actually, we're neighbors. He lives like 2 or 3 blocks from me. And here in Brooklyn, just recently, I think last week, he did like a marathon concert or a couple of marathon concerts where he played, all of the music over a couple of nights. And it's incredible. So maybe you make a project like that for yourself, but it doesn't have to be as ambitious as I'm going to learn all 50 of Thelonious Monk's compositions. It could be I'm going to learn all of the songs on Neil Young's Harvest record, or I'm going to learn all of the songs on Oscar Peterson, We Get Requests, or I'm going to learn all of the songs on John McLaughlin, My Goals Beyond, or whatever. Like pick an album that's got 6 or 7 songs and just learn those songs as best as you can to the point where you could actually perform them in a concert. And if you don't have a concert to perform, maybe you could do a live stream. Maybe you make a goal, hey, 6 months from now, I want to play the entire album of whatever without looking at music and just, from my heart, play this music. And I'm going to do a live stream on YouTube and just play the music. And that's my concert, or whatever, rent a room and invite people and actually do a concert, whatever you want to do. But give yourself a really specific goal to work towards. If I don't have a goal, I also don't practice very much. So for me, goal setting, which is the engine of practice, is either I've got a gig that I've agreed to do, somebody's hired me, or I've planned the gig myself, and now I've got to get my shit together and be prepared for that day because it's on the calendar, it's going to happen. So that'd be one way. Another way would be to just decide I'm going to practice 30 minutes a day no matter what. And you get out your iPhone or a stopwatch or whatever you have, and you pick something to work on, and you just practice 30 minutes a day. And you don't worry about, am I doing perfect practice or whatever that even means. But if you do that, if you practice 30 minutes a day, 45 minutes a day, every day, you will progress. Now, as far as the be me part, that's not going to guarantee that, but it will mean that every time you put the pick to the string, you're going to have confidence, or not pick, whatever technique you use. You're going to have confidence because you've done it hundreds of times over the course of a year. So you could just have a time limit or a time thing, or you could make a list of 3 things you want to practice and eliminate everything else. I mean, that's the thing that a lot of people get hung up on, is they try to do too much in their practice regimen, and you really just need a few things. And just commit to doing those 3 things for the next 6 months. And if you don't have a half hour to practice, whatever time you have, you just work on those things. Just sometimes for me, clearing all the stacks of stuff off my music stand and just looking at a piece of paper that says, whatever the 3 things are, some simple thing, just work on those. And just, that can be helpful to focus. Getting together with other people, if you have somebody who lives near you that you can play with, not to plan for a gig or anything like that, but just to play, can be really motivating. I always come back from a jam with somebody wanting to practice because either, I couldn't get to something that I wanted to play, or I heard them play something that was intriguing, or they mentioned a record that they thought I would like, and then I'll go listen to it. Another thing you could do is just get into transcribing. Uh, if you haven't done a big transcribing project recently, um, I don't know. These are the things that have worked for me. Believe me, I get stuck, and I am a professional guitarist, and sometimes I don't want to practice, or I do want to, but I just don't. Um, but it has to be a habit. I think that's the bottom line. You can't have to negotiate yourself into it every time. You have to develop a habit so that it's just something you do. That's the main thing. You might want to read James Clear. He has a book called Atomic Habits. That would be a good book. There's another book called Essentialism. Who's the author? I can't remember right now. It's just about eliminating a lot of extraneous stuff. Okay. Uh, yeah. Okay, cool response audio. That's great to have some insight on Tony Rice. I wish I knew more. Struggling with the B section of Softly. Sure. What key are you playing it in? So it goes E flat, and then it goes to E diminished, and then so it's 2 bars of E flat. We're talking about the bridge to Softly as in the Morning Sunrise. It goes to E flat for 2 bars, goes to E diminished for 2 bars, a bar of F minor, a bar of F sharp diminished, and then probably G7, and then quick 2-5 back to C minor. So let's see. So let's see. Is there a particular thing about it that's challenging you? Is it the diminished chords, or what's hanging you up? Emilio, thanks for that question, and Tim also. I'm trying to get to the core of this thing on Softly. Having something to say over the changes. Okay. So I'm going to just play a little bit and see if I can find something to say. So this is the bridge to Softly as in the Morning Sunrise. 1, 2, 3. I'll do it again. 2, 3, 4. One, two, three. I would try to think of it as simply as possible. So it's 2 bars of E flat, and then it goes to E diminished, but it's really just C7 to try to get us to the F minor. So how do we get from E flat through C7 to F minor? 1, 2, 3. I'm just thinking in broad strokes, like, do I want to go up? Do I want to come down? Do I want to play things on the beat? Do I want to push and pull and play syncopated eighth notes? So here's going up. 2, 3, 4. Okay, here's going down. 2, 3, 4. Okay, that was a little weird. Now I'm going to try to do more of like a zigzag. 2, 3, 4. Now I'm going to try to stay in one place. 2, 3, 4. So, I just would give myself a little project to try to do something. Of course, I am thinking about scales. Yes, I am. But I'm really trying not to. I'm trying to kind of almost like a magician or something, like trying to draw my own attention to some little shiny object or some little instruction. Melody goes up, melody goes down, melody stays in one place, melody zigzags. Okay, cool. Melody, if another thing I might do is, try to have the melody be a particular chord tone. That sometimes gets me into a surprising place. So maybe I'll make everything as the 9. And then C7 flat 9. Or if you were thinking of it as E diminished, I guess you could play F sharp would be the 9 on the diminished. So like 9 on the F minor, F sharp diminished. Here's the 9. G7 flat 9. Anyway, just strategies basically to just give myself some particular thing to do. And then this may not help you, but sometimes just to get myself in a different headspace, I'll just convert all of the diminished chords to dominant chords. So instead of E flat, E diminished, F minor, I'm just thinking C7 flat 9, and that's clear to me. And then that F sharp diminished, I think of D7 flat 9, which leads us to the G chord, which is where we're going. I wish we could just sit in a room and play. I think if we could play together, this would make more sense. Sometimes it's hard to just talk about it. Am I thinking notes from the palette at E flat major? Yeah, basically. also thinking chord shapes. So yes and yes. Okay. Emilio Esteban says, I hope Emilio is still here. Hey Adam, big fan of your work. Do you currently be willing to produce music for upcoming artists? Thank you, Emilio. I'm flattered that you would ask that. I No, I'm not currently taking on projects like that. Um, I have produced a few records, and it always um, it's I love doing it, but it's so all consuming, and at the moment I'm doing so many different things. I just feel like I couldn't be all in on one project right now, especially if it's something that I don't know the people very well. But thank you for asking. I really appreciate that. If you see me here again in 6 months, ask me again. Maybe the answer then would be yes. But currently, no, I'm not taking on any projects like that. Tim Colin says, do you ever feel down about your playing? Ever have imposter syndrome now that you've been a pro so long? Tim, yes, very much. So it's just a phase. It's just a feeling. It will pass, I hope, for both of us. I feel like an imposter all the time. Look at all this gray hair. I still feel like an imposter, Uh, I I admire people that don't struggle with that, but I think probably more people struggle with it than you might imagine. It's not uncommon, and uh, as best as you can, just play through it and do your best. I know that sounds really basic and not that helpful, but I don't really know what else to recommend. I feel that way all the time, but I always just keep playing and don't think so much. Emilio says, what's your day to day like nowadays? Oh man. Well, it's all kinds of stuff. I mean, just currently, here's some projects that I'm working on currently. I tour with an artist named Liz Wright. She's incredible. If you don't know her, look her up. Lizzwright. I've been on the road with her. Oh, I don't know, 10 weeks this year, 20 weeks this year, all in short bits. So that's been a lot of my focus. We have some more dates coming up. We're playing in California and Washington next week. So that's something that's always in the mix of what I'm doing, as far as like preparing music to or brushing up on music or tunes for the tour. I wrote a book that came out like a year or a year and a half ago called String Theories. We're going to do a second edition of it. So my co-author and I are combing through the book word by word and just seeing if there's anything that we can clean up so that the language is as clear as possible. That'll help the second edition be even more readable. Also, that book is going to be translated into some different languages. So the more clear that it is in English, the more, hopefully, the better the translations will be once they get translated. So that's part of my work week, is checking in on that book and seeing what that's doing. I'm putting together an Adam Levy jazz songbook. So my original tunes of mine, including a couple of transcribed solos. So I'm working with a transcriber and editor to make sure that all the notation stuff is right. I'm writing a monthly column for a Japanese guitar magazine. It's called Guitar Magazine in Japan. And so every month I write a column, I shoot a video, I do stuff for YouTube. I do stuff for Patreon. And I recorded my own next record earlier this year. And I've been finalizing the mixes with the producer and the engineer. So every day I go back and listen and make sure the mixes are cool. And I'm thinking about the sequence. And now I've got to think about how I want to release that record sometime next year. I co-lead a band with Rich Hinman. And so we're always talking about what to do next. There's always just a lot of little projects, nothing, no one big, huge thing, but enough little things cooking that I kind of just, I don't want to take on any more stuff because I want to be as all in on things as I can be. And I'm already feeling like I'm barely that I can. And I teach a little bit, and also I live in New York. I try to go out and hear my friends and my heroes when they play here. Spend time with my family. The day-to-day could be take a walk, exercise, play the guitar, teach a lesson, proofread, book a gig. A lot more admin. That's why I started this video warming up. Because there's a lot of the day that's just being on the computer, running the business of being a musician. Have I watched any of Jimmy Brewer guitar videos? He's great and has a similar chill vibe to you. I think you'll dig his stuff. Cool, thank you. No, I don't know anything about Jimmy Brewer. I'll check him out. Oh, cool, Tim. I'm glad I got it right. Emilio, you want to check out... this is the artist that I play with. She's incredible. Yeah, we played at Jazz à Vienne in 2024. That's right. Hey, Jeffrey, what's shaking? Well, gosh, it's been an hour. I know that we could probably hang for another hour and it would be fun. But I don't want to wear out my welcome. Oh, man, thank you. So, if you're watching this, you probably are already subscribed to my channel. But if you're not, please do subscribe to Guitar Tips on YouTube and like stuff and share it. I know you hear this stuff all the time from other YouTube people, but it really does make a difference. The more action that any video gets on YouTube or any channel gets, the more that YouTube wants to support that and grow that. And so if you like what I do, try to let YouTube know that you like it, and then that helps reach more people. And then I don't know what we'll see. Okay, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for really good questions. This has been a great hang. I'm going to try to do these more often. Take good care. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you again sometime soon.